What's up guys, my name is Ace, and yesterday we finally got some communication from Infinity Ward. This was in the form of a community update on their blog, which of course I will leave linked down below, but I'm going to be going through this, covering all of the main points from this community update, as well as a few other pieces of information and things that we can expect to see based on tweets from developers over the past few days. And I just wanted to share my thoughts on all of this stuff. So kicking it off, let's have a look at the community updates and a few of the things that they mentioned that will be coming to Modern Warfare. They didn't give us an exact date on these, but we can expect to see this. First off, additional loadouts. As of right now, we still only have 5 custom loadouts, and they have acknowledged that 5 loadouts aren't enough, and they'll be adding more loadout slots over the coming weeks. So they haven't gone into any details here as to exactly how they're going to implement loadouts or how many loadouts they're going to implement and exactly when, but we can expect to see that happen over the next few weeks. Next up, we have V3 Gunfight. Apparently they're working on this, and this will be coming at some point in the future. They didn't give any sort of indication as to when we can expect this. They just said that they're working on it. But this is something that I think could be quite interesting. I really like the sounds of 3v3 Gunfight. I think most of the gunfight maps would absolutely support 3v3 just fine. So I am interested to see how that one plays out. Going off of that, they also mentioned that gunfight tournaments will be coming back, but again, we don't have any sort of a timeline on this. We don't know when this is going to happen. They say that they're in the process of squashing some bugs that were in the initial gunfight tournament, but I really hope when they bring this back, it will end up being like a weekly event, so every week you have a new gunfight tournament with a new reward of some sort. That would be something that would be at least kind of exciting once a week to hop in and try and win one of those gunfight tournaments. So finally, in their What's Coming section in this blog post, they also mentioned there will be more double XP, double weapon XP, and double tier events coming. Which really is no surprise. I don't even know why they felt the need to mention that there, because of course that's going to be happening. That's what we've been getting most weeks anyways. So that stuff so far doesn't really mean a whole lot, mainly because there's no set timelines on that, and it's really not huge news anyways. However, the big news with this update, I feel at least, is they've added a Trello board. And what this is it's a way for them to track things that are in progress as well as completed, and they can show that off to the community. So they can add things like bugs or certain features that they're working on to this, and you can see the stage that they're currently at. So going through what they currently have for multiplayer at least, because that's what we focus on this channel, as far as things that are completed and ready to go for a future update, the first one is they fixed the recon drone challenge not tracking, and that's something that a lot of the community is pretty upset with because it's the one officer rank challenge that currently can't be completed. That will be fixed, most likely in the next title update. Next up, apparently they fixed a bug with hardpoint on St. Petrograd. I'm not aware of this bug, so I don't know any details, but it seems like you could capture the hardpoint from an unintended area, and they've got that patched. Another bug that they've got fixed is apparently the cruise missile could kill players well out of bounds on shipment, so not too sure what they mean by that, but again, that's just another bug they've got fixed. Also, a really big one for the competitive scene especially, and this is something that a lot of people have been abusing. As of right now in the game, there is a way to eliminate your sprint out time with a certain button combination that involves sliding. I chose not to share it on this channel because I didn't want it to spread. It's good to see that the devs have this fixed for future update though, so we won't be able to exploit that and eliminate our sprint out time. Now the final thing they have that's marked as completed and ready to go for a future update is just fixes for various exploits and graphical errors in Ground War. And this includes a bunch of those spots where people have been getting into walls or underneath the map where they're basically invincible and they're just dropping nukes just about every game in Ground War. It's basically completely killed the Ground War mode for me. I run into these people in almost every single game of Ground War I play now. And it's just so frustrating because Ground War was my favorite mode to play in Modern Warfare, and now it's practically unplayable because even though I've learned the spots to avoid because I know where those glitchers tend to be on all of the maps, even if you actively avoid them and you just play the game and try to win, you're going to lose anyways because most of the time they're just going to drop a nuke on your team because you'll have teammates that are just constantly feeding them kills. So Ground War has basically just been a dead mode for me for the past week and a half or so as a result of these glitches, and I really hope they manage to clean up all of the current known glitches on the maps, or even better, hopefully find a way to prevent this from happening in the future as well. So like I said, those are the things on the Trello board that are currently fixed for future updates. They're not in the game now, but they will be coming probably in the next title update for most, if not all of those. Next up, we have the things that are marked as yellow on this board, which means they are in progress. They are currently actively working on these things. They're not finished yet for the next update, but they are being worked on. Now, most of these are just bugs relating to camo challenges not being able to be completed, or certain things not tracking properly, or kill streak bugs where if you call in a kill streak in a certain area of the map, then it prevents it from coming into the map. But on top of this, the Season 0 emblem that you unlock for completing the officer rank challenges, that has been screwed up for a lot of people. So there were lots of people that completed all of the challenges for the season, and they didn't get the reward for that. This is also in progress and should be fixed at some point in the near future. And finally, one of the in progress things that they're working on right now is getting Anya Palace back in rotation for Ground War. Apparently it was pulled because there was some confusion between 48 and 64 player modes, and that was causing issues with Anya Palace in that Ground War rotation, so they did have to pull it for that reason. And it looks like they are working on this, so we should expect to see it back at some point in the not too distant future. This is really nice to at least get some communication on this, because a lot of us were wondering, like, why did Anya Palace disappear? It was never even really mentioned. It just suddenly disappeared one day, and that was it. So it's good to see an explanation at the very least. So finally, we have the next section of things that's covered in the Trello board, and this is things where tickets have been created, so they will be working on these soon, but they haven't started working on them yet. The first one is a well-known bug that's been around since the launch of the game, and this is those rare situations where some players are literally invincible, but at the same time, they can't deal damage to enemy players, they can't cap flags. However, they can perform executions. That's the only way that they can really actively participate in the match. And for obvious reasons, that would be very, very frustrating to run into. I haven't run into it myself, but I've seen plenty of clips of this happening. They do have a ticket created on this, but it is not in progress. That gives me the impression that they don't know exactly what's causing this yet. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's a little unfortunate they don't have this worked out yet, but again, it is nice to get some communication here, so we at least know that they are aware of this and they will be working on this. Next up, we have player collision, which if you guys didn't know, this was actually unintentionally added in the last title update that we got, which was several weeks ago now. And basically, you can bump into teammates, you can push teammates around, and it is really, really frustrating dealing with this. And a lot of people were wondering why they added it. It appears this was unintentional. It probably was a bug of some sort that was just introduced with fixing other things in the last update. And this has definitely led to some issues, so this is something they will be looking into in the future, and that's nice to see as well. On top of that, players are reporting that their audio is cutting out during matches on PC. They're looking into that one. There's also apparently a bush on Port of Verdansk that is killing players when they walk into it, which I find to be a little bit hilarious that that bug exists in the first place, and I think that's something they can probably get to and patch up fairly easily. Finally on here, apparently default calling cards were sometimes appearing in daily challenges as a reward, and this is another thing they're looking at fixing in the future. So that's it for the Trello board currently. This is something that they said they will keep updating consistently, so I would recommend that you actually bookmark this somewhere so you can check back on this frequently. And I think this is a great idea to have this Trello board because this kind of communication goes a long way. It's the kind of thing where a lot of us are reporting bugs and reporting issues that we're running into, and we have no idea if they actually are aware of these things, if they're tracking them, if they've already got them fixed for the next update. And it's really frustrating being kept in the dark, so if they keep this board updated, that would alleviate a lot of those issues. The key, of course, is making sure they actually keep this updated and follow through with this. And this leads us back to that blog post where they wanted to talk about what's going on moving forward. And what they've shared here is a simple sort of schedule that they're going to aim for on a weekly basis going forward. Keep in mind, this isn't like a set in stone thing, so they might not cover every one of these points every single week. But going forward, their plan is to have playlist updates coming on Tuesdays. Thursdays will be a developer diary and or behind the scenes blog. And most importantly, at least in my eyes, on Fridays, they're going to have community update blogs, just like this one that we had. This is extremely important because these are the types of things that give us a little bit of insight into what their mindset is and what we can expect to see in the future. The Trello boards, like I said, are great for keeping us updated on bugs and like little things like that. Whereas the community updates are more important for the big picture stuff. What can we be excited about for the future of the game? And that's something that I really hope they follow through with on a weekly basis. I get it, there will be some weeks here or there where there's just nothing to update, and that's fine if they skip the odd week, but I really hope we at least see these more often than not every single Friday. So finally, just covering a few more things that were covered in developer tweets before I share my whole opinion on this blog post and Trello board thing from yesterday. First off, apparently the kill feed fix that was kind of half done earlier is apparently going to be fully fixed within the next update, which is nice to see. Additionally, one nice little tidbit here is somebody asked if we could have a separate playlist for party modes, and Ashton replied saying it's something they're actively talking about, but they haven't finalized it quite yet. And I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this. I think this would be a great addition. I think things like Infected and Gun Game should 100% be staple modes that never disappear. But with that, it's time to share my opinion on yesterday's community update. The first thing I'll say is this is a lot of what we've been asking for the past while, especially me. I've just been asking for, at the very least, communication. And this looks like the first step in the right direction with that communication. The Trello board is a great way for tracking bugs. The community update blog posts every Friday sound like they'll really start to give us some hope with this game for the future. So my initial thought on this is an excellent start. But it's just a start, and actions speak louder than words. At the end of the day, we didn't really get that much information with this blog post and with this update. There's not much as far as like timelines go or anything, and a lot of the major concerns and issues that the community has still haven't been addressed. So I'm not like overjoyed at this communication that we got yesterday. I just think it's a good start, it's a step in the right direction, and I hope it's at least a sign of what's to come in the future when it comes to communication from the developers. I'm not going to praise them really heavily for this communication because we are like 3 months in now, and this is like the only proper communication it seems like we've seen for a very, very long time. But at the same time, I'm not going to bash them for finally coming out and starting to provide some communication with us. Let's just hope they really manage to stick to this, and I'm excited to see what happens this coming Tuesday, which, like I said, I do expect that's when we will receive the next title update for this game. But with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of this community update from yesterday, as well as the addition of that Trello board that allows us to track current issues? Just let me know all of those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.